Pachyderm Labs, from Pachyderm Consulting.
Hi, this is Patrick at Pachyderm Labs with a quick app review. Today we're going to have a look at the iTap RDP client. RDP is a protocol for connecting to and controlling Windows computers across the internet. Most of our clients are familiar with RDP and use it to connect to their office computers or terminal servers using the built-in Windows client. However, with the proliferation of smartphones and tablets, and Macs continuing to surge in popularity, we often get questions about how to remotely connect to office computers from an Android phone or an iPad or a Mac. There are lots of technologies other than RDP out there, each with different apps and methods for connecting, but we still recommend RDP for most of our clients. It's relatively simple to use, the client is built into all modern Windows OSs, and everything about it is integrated with your business's Windows network. So we can control and monitor remote access at a high level to be sure your network is safe from unauthorized remote users. There are quite a few RDP clients for iOS and Android devices, and all are solid choices. iTap sets itself apart, though, with some very cool features that allow it to better integrate with your business network. So let's dive right into iTap so I can show you just how it works. I'll be using the Android client as an example. The differences between the Android, iPhone, and iPad clients are simply cosmetic. Opening up iTap for the first time, we see there's already a test account set up for us. You can connect to this test server to learn about some of the gestures we'll use to control iTap. But let's take a look at the test connection I've already set up. I'll go through the settings one by one. Label is just a name for your connection. Host is the name of the remote computer you want to connect to. Port, we generally use this default RDP port. And gateway is terminal server gateway or remote desktop gateway. This is one of those cool features I mentioned at the beginning. TS Gateway is a technology that simplifies connecting to a remote computer through a business network. If you're accustomed to connecting to a VPN, then using RDP to connect to your office computer, the gateway takes the place of that VPN connection. It's much quicker than VPN, and it's integrated into iTap, so you don't have to set up a separate VPN connection and connect to that first. Once you set this up here, it's automatically connected when you initiate your saved remote desktop connection. You can see it's enabled. We have our host entered. We use the default port. Manage credentials is where we can create credentials to log on to the remote computer. We can see here I have some already set up. So let's go ahead and connect to our test server here. We will use our terminal server gateway credentials, and the speed it takes, the time it takes for it to connect to the remote computer depends on the network you're on. If you're on cellular, obviously it'll be slower. Wi-Fi, much quicker. I'm on Wi-Fi, so that was quite quick. Here's our desktop. We can move around just like we're sitting in front of it. As for controls, there's some things that are different with a touchscreen, obviously. Right-clicking can be a little bit of a challenge. Essentially what you do is you tap on the area and hold that where you want to right-click, and then tap with another finger anywhere else, and the right-click menu will come up. Pinch to zoom is standard, just like pretty much any app. And tapping 3 fingers on the screen brings up the menu with some settings for keyboard and mouse control. You can change the style of mouse control to show the cursor, or if you want to select a few things, you can use this multi-select tool. There's also toggles for Shift, Control, and Alt if you need to do some fancy keyboard work, and you just tap 3 fingers again to hide that menu. To bring up the on-screen keyboard, 3 fingers on the screen, slide down, it comes up. 3 fingers on the screen, slide down, it goes away. It can be kind of tricky to make it go away because the keyboard does take up about 3/4 of the screen, as you can see. Other than these touchscreen specific controls, if you've used remote desktop before, this should all be familiar, so I won't go any further in depth. As for shortcomings of the app, there's no functionality for shuttling files back and forth between your device and the remote computer or anything else fancy like that. But it's handy if you're stuck in an airport or on a train and need to quickly view a document from your file server or use a program that only lives on your office desktop. So that's the basics of setting up and using the iTap remote client. In my opinion, the iTap Mac client is one of the best pieces of software out there for Mac users. As I mentioned earlier, Mac users are probably familiar with the drudgery of making a VPN connection and then using a RDP client to connect to their office computers. With iTap for Mac, there's a built-in TS Gateway client as in the mobile client. Not even Microsoft's own Mac RDP client has that. As a matter of fact, Microsoft's RDP client is not supported on OS X Lion or Mountain Lion, so it's a poor choice for those with newer Macs. iTap is fully supported on these OS X versions. iTap also has the features you expect from an RDP client. For instance, printer redirection. That allows you to print from the remote computer to a local printer. And folder redirection, which allows you to shuffle files from your local computer to the remote one and vice versa. iTap's Mac client blows Microsoft's own client out of the water. The only downside is its price. It's $25 on the Mac App Store, or 20 euros if you buy from the developer, which is why I'm using a free trial version here. Speaking of prices, the iOS client is $12 from the App Store, the Android client is $15 on Google Play, or $13 on Amazon's App Store. All these prices are as of August 10th, 2012. While these seem like high prices for an app, they're in line with other remote access apps, and the convenience is well worth the cost in my opinion. So that's it. If you have any questions about using iTap or remote desktop in general, please contact Pachyderm Consulting. Thanks for watching.